This video will explore the spiritualities of seafaring and islander indigenous people. The earliest confirmed seafaring in the world is attributed to Australian indigenous people, as, although most arrived by land from Asia when sea levels were lower, some would have had to have traversed over 100 miles by sea between Australia and the islands around it. However, evidence of boats that may have been used for such crossings thousands of years ago has not yet been found. Indigenous populations have always been most dense around the fertile coastal areas, as the vast inland deserts are a much more challenging environment in which to live. Proximity to the sea is therefore important for many indigenous people, Aboriginal and islanders alike. Of course, for indigenous people living on small islands, seafaring became much more important as a means of trade and in connecting with other surrounding tribes. Just as the land plays an important role in the culture of indigenous groups, so also does seafaring to those groups who use it, and more so for those who rely on it. The first type of vessel on which people travelled on water took the form of a raft, with logs bundled together. Around 3000 BCE, or 5000 years ago, Tasmanian people were building rafts and floats with simple toolkits that they had developed. However, no evidence of tools that could cut down trees has been found, so it is likely that the wood used was harvested naturally or had been driftwood. Bundle rafts could also be made from bundles of bark, although some forms of bark, like paper bark, are easily waterlogged. In mainland Australia, different types of raft have been used for use on rivers and in the sea. The development of the raft into the bark boat was the next step of progress. Strips of bark could be cut from trees and lashed or stitched together to make vessels in which people could sit. Not only did the development of rafts and early boats allow islanders to cross to other islands, but it also allowed for more sources of food that live in the seas and rivers and are otherwise inaccessible. The Torres Strait Islands are between Cape York and mainland Australia and Papua New Guinea, and are named after a Spanish man who visited the area in 1606. You can see the flag of the Torres Strait Islands and a map on your screen. The islands are a part of Queensland. Torres Strait was the first place in Australia where native title was recognised through the historic High Court decision on Mer Island in 1992. There are over 100 islands in the Torres Strait, 17 of which are inhabited by 20 different communities. There are 2 different indigenous languages in the Torres Strait, one spoken in the Eastern Islands, and one with different dialects spoken in Central and Western Islands. Another language has developed since the arrival of European settlers, and is a form of Pidgin English called Broken, which many people now speak across the Torres Strait. There are around 6,000 people living on the islands today, and a further 37,000 Torres Strait Islanders living in mainland Australia, many of them in northern Queensland, particularly in Cairns and Townsville. Torres Strait Islanders have culture and traditions that are distinct from those of Aboriginal groups. Torres Strait Islanders are a seafaring people who are known for travelling distance in search of the turtle and dugong, and trading with neighbours. People from the islands trade with villagers on the Papua New Guinea coastline. Torres Strait Islanders have a different understanding of spirituality from Aboriginal groups. The word Zogo is used to describe something that is sacred or set apart in spiritual terms to Torres Strait Islanders. This can be a charm or other special object which is thought to hold particular powers. Zogo time is a belief held by these islanders. It affects Torres Strait Islander values and beliefs and their relationship with every living creature and feature of the land, sea, and air. As with dream time for Aboriginal people, Zogo time to Torres Strait Islanders is not confined to one period of time, but continues into the present. Before time, referring to the creation period and before time, referring to the time after the creation period but before European contact, are Creole terms that Torres Strait Islanders use to refer to the spiritual aspect of these times. As well as this indigenous belief system, many Torres Strait Islanders have adopted some of the beliefs of the missionaries who arrived in the 19th century. The indigenous beliefs hold that there are cultural heroes whose actions are told in stories. There are also traditional rituals celebrated on the islands, one of the most important of which is tombstone opening, in which the grave marker is revealed to friends and family of the deceased. The ceremony may take place many years after the actual death. This ritual is a time of feasting and dancing, and people may come from islands throughout the strait and from the mainland.